according to the cloud.
Okay. Hey, welcome to the Southwood Conservation Commission meeting. It's Monday, March 15th, 7 p.m. This is a Zoom meeting. I'd appreciate if everybody was muted until it was their turn to talk, or if we call on, if you would wish to talk, let us know by giving us a raised hand or something like that. We have with us tonight Jerry Patria, Dave McWilliams, Brian Drennan, Ahmet Mazanoglu, and Christopher Pratt for committee members. We have Dennis Clark as our coordinator. We have Norm Cheevers as our LMC liaison. Okay. And welcome everybody.
Hello.
All right. So our first one's going to be a continuation of 56 and 56A Berkshire Avenue.
We got John Goddard here, but do you want to do the minutes first, or?
I guess so. We've got a couple minutes.
You want to wait for Jean for the minutes?
Yeah, why don't we do that? Then she can be in on the.
Oh, here we go. She's coming in now.
Okay.
Let's see. Come on, Jean.
I see the letters.
Yeah. Can you hear us, Jean?
Connecting to audio, it says. No,
Can you hear me?
I can.
Can you hear us?
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to do the minutes first, Chris? Get that out of the way.
Minutes. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes? Okay, does anybody have any suggestions or comments?
Just a couple of spelling typos.
I knew it.
I find that difficult to believe, Brian.
No way.
It pains me, Gene. Page 2, first paragraph, line 3, first word, proposed. I think should be proposal.
Okay.
Page 3, second paragraph, third line, third word, intermittent instead of internment.
That's a good catch.
No, internment was right.
And page 4, paragraph 2, line 3, the fourth word, deceased. Or is that diseased?
Diseased.
Okay, my fault. Everything else looks good.
Okay.
Make a motion to accept the minutes.
Yeah, I'll make a second.
I'm sorry, who first did it?
Brian Drennan.
Okay.
I second.
Jerry
Okay.
Patrick seconded.
Yep. Matt, what do you say?
Aye.
Dave McWilliams?
Aye, sir.
And I as well. Okay, that's unanimous. All right.
John, do this if you want to get him to say a few words.
What's that? You want John now? So
John,
we're at our 56A continuation of Berkshire Avenue, proposed renovations to dwelling, proposed replacement of retaining walls within bordering land subject to flooding. Okay, John?
Thanks, Chris. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
For today, we received some comments through DPW. So we requested a continuance so we can address those comments. Nothing new to present this evening.
All right, so we will continue.
Chris, is there anybody here for that meeting?
I don't know.
Is there anybody here? for
Is anyone
56?
here for comments from the public for that meeting? You can unmute and speak at this time? Okay, hearing none.
No.
I guess we will continue. Okay.
John, I'll send you out a continuation form and you can fill it out and send it back.
You didn't look at my lovely letter?
No.
No problem, Gene. I'll take care of it. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Is there anything else, Dennis? We need to burn a little bit of time, it looks.
Yeah, we could go over, we could do the request for certificate of compliance. It's on a Noble Steed. I went out there today, took a couple of pictures. It looks like it's in compliance. And I can share that with you, I believe.
Okay,
The little screen share here. Let's see, screen share. Photoshop. Okay, you can see the boulders,
oh
the
yeah,
wetlands back here, 50 feet back here. He's got the boulders. He's got a stone wall all the way along here.
okay,
It's definitely, the limit of the lawn is there. I think it's in compliance, and it looks like he's ready for receive his bond back, bond release.
yeah, that looks good. It looks just like we talked about. How about up towards the front, Dennis? Yeah, that's the area.
There it is.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
So he left the trees.
Yeah, there were
Some
a few
boulder.
deadfalls he was gonna take out of there, I remember, but
Yeah, there's still a couple there.
yeah,
This one here laying there, but
yeah.
you could take a vote on that if you like.
Right. I will make a motion to give a certificate of compliance on the project on Noble Steed. Do I have a second?
I'll second that, Chris.
Okay, Dave's a second. Jerry Patry, what do you say?
Aye.
And Matt, what do you say?
Aye.
Okay. Brian Drennan?
Aye.
All right, we're unanimous. Anything else? Dan?
Is
Yeah.
Andrew here? Andrew Solak, did he come to the meeting? I know he accepted the invitation. He sent us status report on the Greens East. They had a little issue over there. One of the lots, somebody drove through some of the wetlands, but they've since silt fenced it off, and it looks like it's growing back. And he sent pictures and explanation. He is our environmental monitor for the project and invited him to the meeting tonight, but if he doesn't show up later on, I can pull up the report for you.
Okay.
In the meantime, you got a few minutes, 5 minutes. You want to talk about the Trails Grant and the new
That'd be great.
news on that?
Super.
Actually,
Come
we
on,
can have
David or
Dave-
Brian to talk.
David and Brian, yeah.
How about both of us?
Okay, that sounds perfect.
So I believe we found one of the scouts to come in and do his Eagle project to go through and complete some of the work that's part of that grant program. It's Brian Drennan's stepson, Andre. So I believe we're meeting tomorrow night to review the plan with Andre and make sure it is a plan that he can get behind for his Eagle project.
Super.
Which Brian, he's going to, right?
Yes, we'll be there.
No, I mean, he's going to get behind the project full force.
He is getting behind the project for sure.
Absolutely.
He's
Perfect.
excited.
So I've talked with Crestview about some of the work, the heavy work that needs to be done. But you know, the way these things work, the Eagle Scouts, they're the ones we put the scout in charge of communicating with everybody and just oversee them.
Right.
I think, you know, I'd really like to see some signs, not just mass produced signs, but some nice signs that fit in with the landscape, especially for the interpretive signs. And we'll put him in touch with, who's the biologist that we met up with, Chris?
The other day, you mean?
I sent us an email today.
Ben Mazzy? Was it?
Yeah, Ben Mazzy. And Ben could be a great help.
Yeah.
Plus, we'll put you in touch with Fish and Wildlife because I'm sure they've got many examples of interpretive signs that they've done in different projects. But yeah, tomorrow night we'll get you all the information. We'll see when we get started on it, as it looks like between the land grant and the community preservation committee that there's going to be funding for this. It's looking good.
No, it's awesome.
Mm-hmm. 3 more minutes, Dennis. Let's
3
see.
more minutes. What else we got on the agenda here?
We will just announce that we do have our budget hearings on the 20th. So you should have all gotten a email about that. If you haven't, we'll make sure that you get one. Everybody in our team here is invited. I hope you all show up. That'd be nice to just have some support. We did also already speak with our representative from the Finance Committee. So we have had some previous conversations as to our budget requests, so I guess we could say, or wants and needs, I would think more appropriate. So
we got a couple of minutes while we got Selectman Moglen here. Maybe he could give us an update on the status of town hall and how things are looking as far as, I know one of the town halls in the neighboring community is open today, but Doug, do you have any info on that?
Town hall's still there, right where we left it.
yeah, nobody going in or out.
I just drove by it yesterday. It was still there.
Yeah.
We're gonna start talking about it, and it's something everyone's kind of looking forward to getting back in person. I just think we're so close to the end of this. I want to make sure that we do it safely, and
Agreed.
So I think Westfielder might have said something about having theirs open in April. We've been able to do most everything we've wanted to do as far as servicing people that have business at town hall, whether it's we meet them outside or the lobby for the town clerk's been open and been able to take care of all the transactional business. And if people needed to get stuff from planning or conservation, they've been able to meet with people. Not in the most convenient way, but it's been possible. And but we're going to get there. And one of the things we've been working on, I know Dennis has been involved in it too, is to be able to continue to provide some electronic access to meetings better than we had prior to the pandemic, whether it's on Zoom or some other platform, to be able to continue to allow people to join meetings remotely,
Now,
especially from the public.
Yeah, when we open back up in person, I know when I had talked to Carl, it was probably a couple years ago, about remote participation. He said we need to have a bylaw in order to enact that. So
That's
are we
correct.
going to be creating a bylaw for that?
It's actually an existing bylaw that this town has to adopt. It's a state law. And I remember it came in front of the select.
Uh-oh.
And there was a lot of good reasons to do it. Perhaps this will cause people to rethink that. I think it would. And I think that there's a pretty convincing argument that we've proven that we can hold productive, open dialogue meetings without everybody having to be in the same room, or if someone can't attend for whatever reason.
Right.
So I think we'll have a spirited discussion around that again.
Yeah.
And that really only comes into effect, the remote participation piece, after the end of the governor's orders, whenever that is going to be, right? So that's probably not going to be till the fall, I would think, but the final end of the pandemic. But we'll have to have that discussion again and then bring it in front of town meeting if it's warranted. But the only other takeaway, and I'll probably chew up the rest of your time right till the end here, is, I'm really a little bit surprised with, for me, I've been able to attend a gazillion meetings on Zoom, and it's easy to go to meeting. I never have to move. I just click on a different button, right? But it's also been a little bit disappointing at the same time with the amount of participation from the public via Zoom in regular meetings. Like, you guys have a pretty good amount of participation in your meetings, but other boards and commissions, not so much. So we're really going to take a look at that and see how much public participation we get.
Yeah.
Better than we got pre-pandemic or even after, and see if it's worth it, right?
Right.
And continue
Maybe,
to provide it.
Instead of just posting on the town hall boards, maybe it could be on the town website, postings for the week, the Zoom meeting postings.
They're there. I mean,
Oh.
they're right on the agendas, right? When you
I'm
click,
glad I
if you
thought of it.
yeah, if you hover right over the calendar, you get the agenda and the Zoom link and everything. So people just can click to get right on it, right? It's easy enough to do. But Board of Selectmen, Board of Health, even CPC, even the budget hearings, right? No one ever comes to the budget hearings. They're like watching paint dry in person, but not, hardly. I think there might have been one, maybe two people that came to the budget hearings last weekend, or the weekend before. And it's interesting. So we'll see.
Okie doke.
Hey, Chris, you got the legal ad?
You bump that up a little bit. Actually, yeah,
How's that?
that's perfect. The Southwick Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing under the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act, General Law C 131, Section 40, the Southwick Conservation Commission Regulations and Bylaw Chapter 182 and Chapter 450 for a notice of intent. Proposed project location is 157 Feeding Hills Road, map 68, parcel 52. The proposed project is to construct 3 gazebos and walkway within the bordering land subject to flooding. The meeting will be held via Zoom right now. Welcome everybody again. Okay.
Okay, there was a request for a continuation, but Mr. Salvini is supposed to be here to open it. Steve, are you here? Steve, are you attending the meeting tonight?
Who's the 120 phone number, Dennis?
I don't know, but we do have
Oh, that's
we do have Andrew Solek. If you want to get him to do the report while we're waiting for it.
Well, you could certainly do that. Andrew, you would do that for us, please?
Yeah, Dennis, can you pull a copy up on the screen that I sent to you?
Sure. Let me just find it here. I had it here a minute ago, but you can start talking about it now.
So the first, I guess, exhibit A would be, we had one issue where one of our laborers drove through a piece of the buffer zone behind, I believe it's lots 5 and 6 over there. So a little bit of ruts were created. He was management was notified. He was instructed to stay out of that area. Since then, the silt fence has been put up and the area has been graded back out. As you can see on Dennis's screen, that little highlighted area, he just kind of cut through there accidentally. And like I said, it's been graded out, silt fence is up, and natural restoration will, over time, bring the area back to what it was. So again, that was just kind of an accident, and he's everybody now knows to stay far from that area and the whole wooded area right there, because most of that has a pretty tight buffer around it. And then exhibit B would be the culvert. So I know you guys have looked into that from the design period to now. So that's going to be done to the manufacturer this Friday. And we're looking to probably put it in next week as long as the weather stays pretty dry. Dennis, if you can scroll down a little bit, you'll see in those pictures, there is very, very minimal water. Dennis and I walked there the other day, and the picture all the way to the left, you can barely see any precipitation there. But going forward to do the construction, we put the wattles in place as well as the silt fence. That'll remain up throughout the project to reduce sedimentation and make sure that the work zone is encased for erosion issues. And then, so yeah, if you guys can all see some of those photos, it's super dry, even with the amount of snow melt we've had. And then the last item would be just the silt fence on the entire job. As you can see, it's maintained pretty well, especially along the detention ponds and areas where it could see some erosion before the grass does establish. And yeah, my guys went around last week, tightened it all up. So it's there, it's holding well, and it's doing its job.
Has anybody gone in and just checked them after the windstorms we've had the last couple of nights? I know they've been pretty severe.
Yeah. So there's quite a bit of trees down. Luckily, they didn't take out any areas. So I walked there last Friday, and they were, like I said, it's all maintained. It's all standing. There's no big issues, no big erosion or sediment getting through anywhere. But that would conclude my portion. If anybody else has any other questions on that.
No, Dave, you have any or all set?
All set with the one I had.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. All right.
Okay, well, we had a request for a continuation on Fred Jackson Road. They're still working things out with, Ryan, are you here? Do you want to
Hey,
talk about that?
hello everyone. Yes. Just to give you a brief update, we sent some revised plans a couple weeks ago to NHESP. They were going to review those plans and determine whether or not they need to reissue a new letter. Indications are that they're going to be issuing one soon. So we're waiting to hear back from that. And also, as part of the kind of the review process and looking at things, we noticed that the USGS topo map has reflected the stream that goes through the property was initially mapped as perennial during our delineation in 2017. A new topo map was issued in 2018 that now shows that headwaters of Johnson Brook as being intermittent. So just an FYI, you'll be getting a revised plan showing that soon.
All right. Thank you, Ryan. So next meeting, you look at continuation for the next meeting or?
Yes, next meeting.
All righty.
You need a motion for a continuation?
I'll make a motion to continue. Do I have a second?
Second that.
Mamet's a second. Jerry Patria,
Aye.
Ryan Drennan,
Aye.
Dave McWilliams. Dave McWilliams, you agree with the,
I agree, yes.
yes, I'm glad.
Right.
Makes me happy.
Hey, Steve.
Okay. It seems like we might have Steve Salvini coming into the meeting, or maybe not. We'll see. He's on the phone with Dennis right now.
Okay, Chris, I believe we have Mr. Salvini is here.
Okay. Hi, Steve. Would you like to tell us about the project or the
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah. Hi, Chris.
Hi.
The restaurant is trying to add some outdoor dining by putting in 3 gazebos that'll be joined by a, oops. Did I lose you?
No, we're still here.
Oh, you're still there.
Oh,
So just to be sure, hey, Chris, just to be sure, we're talking about Feeding Hills Road.
Correct. 157 Feeding Hills Road.
yeah, my bad. I 157 Feeding Hills Road. And the 3 gazebos would be joined by some paved sidewalk, and their goal or intent was to try to make a nice little pathway down along the river so patrons come in, have a nice meal, they get to walk down, take a look at the pretty river, and then back up to the parking lot on their way out. They also are adding They're going to increase the footprint for a outdoor refrigeration unit that's currently there now on the side of the building. And that's going to go to a 16 by 20 foot pad that they have. So what we wanted to do was, we had some comments from Mark Stinson. He was concerned about some prior work that had been done on the site. And we have compiled some information to show that some of that work was done before the Riverfront Act. But we have some comments to try to resolve, and that's why we were asking for a continuance.
Okay. Do you have a plan or anything we can just look at quick, or we can wait till the next time, but just curiosity, maybe we have some other input as well.
We did submit one with the package, I believe.
You have one, Dennis?
Yeah, I'll pull it up for you. Hold on a second. Let me.
That way, if we have any comments, you can, think about that while you're amending Mr.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there's any, is there anybody here from to comment on this project, you know?
Yes, we are.
Okay, so there are people here. Let me see if I can pull up that file. You right here. There we go. Tea house, Grapes Tea House. Here we go.
All right.
And share screen. And Crepes Tea House. There we are.
All right.
Where do you want to go, Steve? Right to the,
Yeah, right to the plan, I guess. That's what they
Yeah.
really want to see.
Yeah, just see the outline of where the gazebos are going to be and the walkway is going to be. And
Right.
is there going to be any regrading, Steve, or is?
No, not really. It's what happens is we're in not only the riverfront area, a little buffer zone, but it's also in a floodplain. Okay?
Right.
So everything will be, the pavement will be basically a grade. The gazebos will be up about 2.5 feet on helic coil, whatever they call them, or not sonotubes, but the coils that don't get coil. Yeah, I couldn't, no tongue tied here right now, but so those are really low impact.
Yeah.
And what we've done is part of the calculation we have is for the compensatory storage issue. And you really have a low profile. The existing deck that they have has the balusters around the decking. It's an open flow kind of thing. So these will be the same way. You'll have the deck, then you'll have your spindles and a rail type of thing. So it's a very low profile. And based on our calculation, based with the materials there, taking the displacement and spreading over that portion of the property, it would potentially, in a theoretical situation, raise the flood water by 1/32 of an inch. So we don't really think we think that's negligible, considering that south of this, there's like a mile of wetland along that stream. So we really think any kind of compensatory storage would be useless. But the issue that Mark has is if you look at the parking lot that's there, in prior photos, it shows on Google Earth a larger
area that was used as a parking area, and it actually had a loop around driveway around the other side of the building. And the current driveway parking lot area configuration as it stands right now is actually about 5,000 square feet smaller than what was there prior to. So in my response to Mark, I'm going to say that over the years, they kind of self-mitigated by about 5,000 square feet. So I'm just throwing it out there for you now.
Okay.
What I think the DEP is looking for, which is, this is a riverfront area, they're looking for some kind of mitigation, put some kind of drainage, rain garden or something in the island area. They're just looking for something to make it, to improve it. So I think that if you go in that direction, you're going to have better luck.
But now you're getting into regrading,
Well, if you're just in this little island area right here, that originally they were talking about doing some kind of drainage from the parking area to, so that it had a place to, it's all pervious surface anyway. There's no impervious, but it's hardened, so it does have some runoff.
Right. We can contemplate that, also contemplating putting in some shrubs or some kind of vegetation. But it actually would be a very nice way for people to, like I said, have some outdoor dining, walk down, take a look at the beautiful river, enjoy nature, maybe encourage them to be more environmentally conscious on their way back to their vehicle or whatever. And it'd be a really nice spot. So that's what they're trying to do.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you for coming. And
Chris, you got any commissioners that have comments or audience that has
I can't
comments?
see anybody. Unshare your screen, Dennis. I can't see anybody's faces.
Oh, I'm sorry. There you go.
Okay. I know
I have
this.
a quick question. What are the smaller yellow squares that you have along what looks like a walk path and branching off into some circles? What are they exactly?
The rectangles are the proposed gazebos. One is a 20 by 15, the other one is 10 by, the other two are smaller 10 by 15s. And the walkway would simply be some pavers. It's not going to be blacktop or concrete. It just be some nice pavers down. The circles are for an area where, going from one gazebo to the other, you're going to have some traffic, waiters, that kind of stuff. So it gives them a little bit of a room to maneuver. Obviously, so maybe in a wheelchair. It just gives more maneuverability on the walkway, getting to and from places. And then as you go down by the river, it just gives, maybe somebody doesn't want to walk all the way up. Maybe they want to just go down and view it, turn around, come back, or they can walk the path north back up to the parking lot. Okay. And it's a pretty little site and would give people a chance to look at it without doing a lot of real,
Yeah.
It wouldn't bother. Yeah, it'd be low impact.
Are they going to serve out there? Do we know?
Well,
Is there any potential for that in the gazebos?
Mr. Cena?
Yeah, I have a few questions. On the gazebos, they'll probably be underwater numerous times through the year, whereas the deck doesn't get under the water. I know the water level back there on a heavy rains flooding season is pretty much up to the parking lot, probably 5 to 10 times per year on a heavy rain. So there will be a time when those gazebos are underwater. And I guess I'm concerned as neighbors is, well, I've been here since 1973, and it seems like there's been many restaurants that have been there. I've supported Krebs Tea House since they've been there. They've been a real great neighbor. And when they asked for a liquor license, I had no problem with that. But when the day they got here from day one, I always questioned what their plan was for outside activities, which seems like it's always been a thorn as the neighbors around have to deal with people that are walking all over the place. So they said there's no plans to go outside, and it's mostly going to be planned for indoor dining, which I was fine with. It appears they made a real big addition to their deck out there. I wasn't aware of it. I don't know if there's any permits allowed for that, but it's a beautiful addition which allows a lot of outside dining, which I have no problem with. In most cases, in fact, all cases, when I'm mowing my lawn or doing weed whacking or any work outside, I make it my point to not make noise, to be a good neighbor to them. And it's been that way since they've been there. Seems like when you put gazebos out there, you're inviting a party. I'm not gonna go to a place and eat and go in a little gazebo with 3 or 4 other couples in there and wait for the server to come and see me once in a while. My prediction is that you'll be reserving these gazebos for private parties, which will probably be children and people drinking, because I know they can serve outside with the license they have. And it seems like when people get outside there, every time I turn around and walk behind my garage, there's people walking on a dirt road, walking up, looking what I have behind my garage. And I'm concerned about if you're gonna be there for hours with a party, like a young kid's birthday party, or even an adult party, they'll be walking around the area. They'll probably be walking down the dirt road there for the highway department, water department. I don't know who's responsible if somebody gets hit by one of the water department trucks. Also, if they're gonna, I enjoy the idea of walking along the path to the brook. I don't know if there's gonna be any area taken to the side of the brook to make it more visible. I don't know if they're gonna allow kids to go swimming in there in the summertime. But as far as I'm concerned, I feel that once you put gazebos in there, you're inviting parties to stay there for hours at a time, more than just sit down dining. If I was gonna go there and dine like I do, I enjoy the outdoor deck out there for dining. It has fresh air. It has a waitress whenever I want her right there. I'm gonna eat my meal, spend some time conversation and leave. And I believe gazebo is just inviting parties to come out in the backyard to start to, run around the area and stuff. So that's our concern, that if the gazebos are approved for building purposes, do we have a right to talk to the town and the selectmen about our concerns about down the road with people that do come in the back there?
I guess that would be maybe planning commission. I'm not really sure, but it's not this one. I mean, we were just looking at the environmental impact at this time.
That's my concern.
And there was on the map, another building to the across from the deck that they have now. It says a proposed building, what that building would be for.
I think they're saying extra refrigeration.
Not that one.
No, not that one. The
No.
refrigerators.
You don't show it on your map now anyway, so it must be something they talk about in the future.
Okay.
It's right in the back of the restaurant.
They don't show it now.
Yeah, there, if you look, there is a, if you go back to the map, I can show you what they're, point to it. They are proposing a little addition for storage on the southwest side of the building, but that would be outside of the resource area, floodplain, and wetland buffer zone. So we show it on there, so when they talk to the building inspector knows that it's not an issue with conservation.
There's nothing to do with proposed building there, right?
It's not part of it. It's shown there so that everyone can see that it's not part in the resource areas.
That's a separate issue altogether.
Right. It's not part of this meeting, really. It doesn't affect wetland areas.
Steve, has this gone in front of the planning board? Do they have to approve this? Is this something in a special permit, or do you know?
For the addition on the building?
Well, for the gazebo.
I don't believe so, but that I don't know, to be honest with you, Dennis.
Can I ask Doug, because he used to be on the planning board. Doug, do you know? Would you mind?
Sorry, I was just looking up the zoning there. I don't know if it's if that's a business zone or if that's a residential zone, because that might change if it's allowed by right or if they need a special permit. And what the threshold for expansion is. From the other side of it, Mr. and Mrs., I don't want to mispronounce your name, Senna.
Yes,
Yeah,
You know, I far afield of this meeting, right? Because this is about the wetland protection part. But if they're going to change their serving area, that probably has to come back in front of the liquor commissioners, which is also your board of selectmen, to have a hearing on that to see if they want to expand it and change it. So they might be in the early parts of this process, right? And off the top of my head, I don't know what their license is, if they're permitted to serve outdoors beyond the pandemic, right? There's been all kinds of exceptions and stuff granted during the pandemic, but once we get past that, what their license says what their serving area is and what they're allowed to do. And if this is an expansion or whatnot, it might end up right back in front of the Board of Selectmen. And there would be a great forum for you to raise your concerns that you've put forth here as well.
now we
Thank
would,
you, Doug.
Yeah, anytime.
Okay, we
Mr.
have
McC-
another hand, Mr. McCasey.
Yeah, I used to go down to that riverbank back when it was prior restaurants. And I know that riverbank has been cleaned up quite a bit. Quite a bit of vegetation has been pulled back to get to where they are, where they can actually, the view, what you're referring to as the viewing area. Back to what Mr. Cena was saying, my concern would be would it be a concern? You get people down on that riverbank and going into the water if they were running some type of birthday party or something like that. Is there any concern with any type of erosion that would be caused by that and accessing that waterway?
Well, I mean, we can't really limit people from using water or accessing brooks or things like that. As far as building, we can make sure that there's no impact. But as far as limiting people from going to a water source, we really can't. So, I mean, as well as there may be some impact from that, I don't know that we can limit that.
The idea with the path was to give people a little path to follow and maybe put little signs that says, stay on the path or something. We thought that if there was a path, it would give them a place to walk rather than free roaming over that area.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
Yeah, I'm not really sure if that brook, is it deep enough to swim in or wade in or?
Well, I mean.
It's not,
I
look right there. I mean,
I had a little kid and they'd play in a puddle. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you. I know what you're saying.
But yeah, I know this is an old theory about if you give somebody a path, they'll use it. If you don't, they'll make their own path. So it might be better to have a controlled area.
That was the thought.
Just from a resident layman description of how this process works, just because I don't get involved. What is the next process after this? Maybe you could give us a better understanding of how it goes from step to step. The question Doug brought up was, is this a residential versus commercial? Could you just give us a quick breakdown of how it gets from here to actually building a gazebo, actually building the addition that you're talking about for storage, or expanding, giving the final blessing to expand this pad for the refrigeration unit?
Do you want to talk about the building card, Dennis, or?
I think Steve would have to address those questions. That's
Well, obviously, the first thing they're going to have to do is go to the building inspector and then get whatever permits for increased patron capacity they need. The building out on the addition on the side, they may need a variance for that, maybe not. But the first step is get through the conservation to make sure we get everything okayed through this process. And then they would have to go, like Doug said, they'd have to go to the building inspector, they'd have to go to the planning board, make sure their permits are all set. And that's not what I do.
Doug said the property is in the AC zone. So this meeting is going to be.
Somebody's asking what the AC zone means.
Agriculture and conservation.
okay, thank
It's
you.
it's zoning in South, and I don't mean to hijack your meeting there, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, that's not a problem. I
Okay.
enjoy input.
The AC zoning in Southwick is it builds upon itself. So the first zone we have is AC zone. It's like the least things you can do in that zone is that, and it usually runs right. And as you can see here, it usually runs right up against rivers and mountains in our town and hills. So it's primarily for agricultural use. And then I know you can have a single family home subject to a special permit back from my planning board days. But, when zoning came into town, there was probably a restaurant or a bar or some structure there. And so it's allowed to continue forever as pre-existing non-conforming, but there's all kinds of rules about expanding a pre-existing non-conforming structure. And when I was on the planning board, we had a ton of them come in, and there's a ton of case law in Mass on how that works and how one can or can't expand a pre-existing non-conforming building. What is it now? Rail Trail Ale House was another one that had come in that was like that, right? That's in a residential zone, but it was there forever, but they couldn't put on a kitchen outside the footprint of the existing building. So I don't know how that works for what they're talking about here about a proposed addition to that building. That'll probably have to go in front of the planning board or the building inspector to see if and how they could do it. And as far as a gazebo, that's usually not considered a structure for the purpose of pre-existing non-conforming, but that's up to the building inspector to decide.
Okay. I appreciate the input, Doug.
No problem.
No
Well,
apologies.
Steve, it looks like you got your homework cut out for you, but
Oh,
he is
yeah,
asking,
absolutely. Yeah.
asking for a continuation to the next meeting.
Right, and I apologize for being late.
Well, that's okay. Glad you could make
I
it.
think Kathy has something she wants to say, Chris. She's
Okay.
raising her hand.
Mrs. Sina?
Yeah, I just wanted to know, will we be notified for each one, like the building permit and the planning board? Will we get letters saying when they're going to be having it, or the meetings?
There should be a butters notices, I believe, but
And I saw where you are on the map. You're a direct abutter. Yeah.
Oh,
You
yeah.
would- if someone applied for a special modification of a special permit over there, you would definitely get notified by mail, first class.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
One last comment I have, a
Yeah,
minor
but-
concern from an environmental stand. I think it's pretty agreeable that where you have people, you have pollution these days. So bringing such structures that close to a riverbank, hopefully the proprietor will have enough things there to accommodate some of the inevitable trash that's going to be coming out, like plastic bottles and napkins and you name it, so that is something that I would probably put forth, and maybe at the next meeting too, is to have receptacles and such, and decent monitoring of people, kids especially, throwing things in the stream, watching it float down and things of that sort, because that will happen.
We could put that in the order of conditions, having trash receptacles, couldn't we?
Yeah, we probably could, but it's also monitoring your kids and making sure that it's supervised.
Yeah.
So if you see a kid throwing bottle after bottle into the Great Brook, maybe somebody will have the mind to say, don't do that.
I think that it would be up to the applicant to come in with a plan.
Some sort of
kind
a plan, yeah.
Maintenance plan. Steve, put that in your to-do list also, please.
well, maintenance and operation.
There you go.
Okay, Mr. Sina, this will be the last one because this really is not about conservation, but I will listen and you can give your words.
When you were talking about the trash and the trash cans, that there are numerous black bears that come in the back of our yard here. The slightest little thing that's left garbage wise near the house is ripped apart automatically. So
Okay,
be aware of that. There is a lot of black bear in the area.
all right. Thanks for the input. Okay.
So
we
Chris,
will-
I'm just going to go ahead and make a motion to continue.
Okay, I'll second that. Thank you, David. Jerry, what do you say?
Aye.
Brian, what do you say?
Aye.
And where are we here?
Aye.
There he is. Thank you.
There you go.
Looking around my screen here.
Okay.
All right, so we're all in.
Ryan, are you still there for the NRAD for the continuation of that? Would you like to?
Yes. So We had previously submitted an ANRAD. We had talked about setting up a site visit. In the meantime, the project proponent would like to acquire and include another adjacent parcel, 34 Feeding Hills Road. So we will be amending the ANRAD to include that parcel as well. So we just did the delineation last week, working on the plans. So there'll be more coming in the next few days. Once we have that, we'll probably request a site visit.
All right. That'd be great. Appreciate it, Ryan. Thank you. I'll
Thank
make a
you.
motion for continuation.
You make a motion on the continuation of the
I did.
ANRAD?
Do I have a second?
Second.
What was that? Matt?
Second.
Yep, that was me.
Hey, David?
Aye.
Jerry?
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
Okay, we're all in again. All right.
Chris, there was some discussion of a third-party consultant because there's going to be 2 large parcels
Right.
for wetland creation.
And we talked about Kate Bednaz.
She is available.
And I think that they're amenable to that.
Sure, yes, that's fine with us.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll send her something tomorrow. Ask her for a proposal on it then.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for remembering that, Dennis, because I didn't.
Doug's got his hand up.
Oh, there he is. Hi, Doug. You
Yeah,
may
I'm
have
here.
to-
I have
there
a
you go.
question, Mr. Chairman.
Sure.
So on a project, that piece that you just talked about, that was the Griffin land piece.
Correct. Yep.
So if they go through the delineation for a big parcel like that, and then the entire project is outside of the wetland resource area, does that matter? Or do you still go for have
Well,
a
we need to
third-party
look at
review?
what they have for water management from their parcel as well, to see if there are going to be impacts from that.
The short answer is if they stay out of any jurisdictional areas, then there's no need to file with the commission. That's the thing that's why they do an ANRAD.
Yeah.
To make sure that happens.
I mean, with us, but they do have to, 5,000 square feet of disturbance. They also have to file a stormwater management plan, things like that. And then we have to make sure that nothing is coming into wetland area.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Otherwise, like Dennis said, if they're not clearing or, disturbing wetland territory, then they're pretty much good.
Yeah, the ANRAD is a legal document. It's good for 3 years. It's like a notice of intent. So it's something they have that will be legally recorded.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Appreciate your input.
All right.
I think the only thing left is the MACC.
Right. That's April, it says 6th through the 17th.
Yeah, that's a long meeting, huh?
It's like a budget hearing.
Do we get to have lunch there every day? I mean, are they going to mail it to us?
They're gonna send a food truck, Chris. I think that's what's gonna happen.
Okay. So the question I have is to Gene. Gene, do you need to know who's going to be attending, even though this is virtual? Do we have to go through the same process that we normally done years past?
I believe because each session will be, there'll be a cost associated with it.
What if we all sit in the same room?
Okay. All right. So we fill it out.
I don't have a camera on this computer, and you're lucky I don't, okay?
So we fill out the form. We fill out the forms and send them back to you then, correct?
That would be a good idea, yeah.
Okay.
Does an email count or just fill out the forms?
Well, I'm imagining the forms because I'm going to have to forward them to MACC and then get a cost on them.
Okay. What if the person outright doesn't want to attend this year's and is just looking forward to a in-person one maybe next year?
That's fine. You already paid for your membership for this
Okay.
year.
All right.
So Chris, Norm has been patiently waiting for the whole meeting, so I suppose you give him a chance to say something.
I suppose.
Thank you. We had a Lake Management Committee meeting last Thursday, and we had several items that bring up just for information. At a prior meeting, I had talked about the potential for a boathouse for the police department boat at the north boat launch area. I wanted to let you know that that is going forward rapidly. The police department has submitted a grant to the state for approval, and they are hoping to still do that project in this year.
Where are they going to put it, Norm? Where about?
It's going to be up near where the greeting house, information house is.
Okay.
But right at the water.
All right.
Okay. Just for information purposes only, Dick Reynolds is on a nitrogen loading committee, looking to lower the amount of nitrogen going into Long Island Sound from our lake. We feed the Westfield River and the Farmington Rivers, which both flow into Long Island Sound. This is a very long-term goal, a very long project, obviously, but it may, in the end, allow us to do something for geese control with the amount of geese poop that goes into the lake. Third subject, we have been meeting with the Agricultural Commission, and we're hoping to get our arms around how much water that can be drained from the lakes for agricultural reasons. We believe there are some state limits put on that. We'll try to get our arms around that and let them know what the limits are.
All right.
There was a fourth item that I think Jerry's taking the lead on, and that was the LPP form that was sent out. And I'll turn it over to you, Jerry, unless you want me to do it.
Well, we talked about it. A couple members of the LMC had mentioned that it wasn't the same form as had been in the last couple of years. So I hadn't received mine yet, but I had heard from a couple of people that there were some changes. So I looked online after speaking with Gene, and it's the form for 2021, and it is missing a couple of items, but I was told that it is the current one, and it does allow for people to enter information on the form online, print it out, and mail it in. Above and beyond that, I'm not exactly sure why it's not exactly like it was, but this, I believe, is the form we all agreed on, guys. I'm not sure. And it's listed on the town's website if anybody wants to reference it. If you want to pull it up, Dennis.
It went back and forth from the LMC back and forth so many times that I'm surprised that there was any kind of discrepancy. But as long as the Lake Management Committee wants to put input, the Conservation Commission would be happy to listen to it. And we'll try to make these forms as user-friendly as possible.
Right.
We're trying to make it so that people aren't afraid. You know, they don't not fill out the form.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. A couple of the things that were talked about were there weren't address lines if you had a visitor's boat at your dock. They, used to call for an address of that visitor. And another thing were the boat lifts. That was missing from the top portion. Those were the two concerns that I heard from a couple of the members.
May I
Correct.
interject?
Yes, ma'am.
Sure.
It's the responsibility of the property owner to pay for anybody's boat that is docked on their lot.
Right.
I do not send applications out to people who are not property owners. The property owner needs to put the registration number and pay the extra fee as a non-property owner boat registration. It's distinctly placed on the form. And there are no lift sections on the application because in the 2020 application, the lifts were added and there was no action taken. There are, however, all the people that completed the survey from the lifts in 2020 are getting lift stickers.
For no charge, I might add.
Yes,
think
at
we-
no charge.
I think we need to revisit that, Norm, as far as, a minimal charge for lifts. That way there, it'll be on the form, there'll be a sticker for it, and it'll be covered by, $10 or whatever the fee is decided on. But if you guys, like I say, LMC can, get all the input like they have been doing, get it to Gene. We're gonna try to make it as user-friendly and as least cumbersome as possible. And we'll keep working on it. It's an evolving process. It's been going on for quite a few years now. And I think it's, Gene has refined it quite a bit. She's done a fantastic job. We've gotten more responses between Connecticut and Massachusetts. It's going really smooth. So we don't want to fix it if it ain't broken, but we can always make it better.
Sounds good. Thank you for the input, Norm. And thank you, Gene, for clarification. Okay. I think that we are covering everything. Does anybody have
What's the
anything else?
next meeting scheduled, Chris?
Say it again.
Next meeting is scheduled for
April 5th.
April 5th.
Dennis, this is Ryan again. I actually have one item to bring up I forgot about earlier.
Hey, Ryan, go ahead.
Sure. So this is for the Solek project, 115 Fred Jackson Road. Dennis, I think you may have been CC'd on some correspondence from DEP regarding wetland fill associated with a subdivision of property necessitates a 401 water quality certification. And one of the options for that, I think we're going to pursue is a declaration of restrictions similar to we did with the Banish property on Sunnyside Road years ago. So we're just looking to get some feedback or just feel out what the commission, if they'd be willing to entertain that.
If you can send us because we did the deed restriction for Sunnyside, but we have to have our town council approve it first. So
okay,
get the deed restriction for the next meeting. We'll get the commissioners, take a look at it, see if we get the town council to approve it, and take it from there.
Okay. Yep. Just wanted to give you a heads up on that.
All right.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Ryan.
Okay. Thank you all.
Okay. Anybody else have anything they'd like to say? Not even goodbye?
Goodbye.
I'll make a
You wanna
motion.
make a
to
motion?
End the meeting. Let's end this meeting. and-
Oh, make a motion, Mehmet.
I just did. I said I make a
Okay,
motion.
I will second that motion.
See you guys on the 5th.
Aye.
Okay, have a good night.
Right,
Night,
so,
guys.
yes,
Bye.
Right.
unanimous. Good night, everyone. Thank you for coming. See you on the 5th.